Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify, however you're listening to my voice. I appreciate it. I'm jumping up on here on a time I'm usually in bed, on a time I'm usually sleeping, but it's Sunday evening, 10:40, and I just watched my first NXT PLE in a number of years. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I thought I was going to. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into AEW Rampage and Collision. We're going to be getting into SmackDown. But first, I kind of want to hit some breaking news. Bushiroad has canceled Razi Agawa's contract with Stardom. So he is the founder of the company in 2010, and he is no longer affiliated with this company. Bushiroad has kicked him out. He had put out a statement that was translated that he has since got rid of, where he says he's worried about the wrestlers. I don't know, that seems a little over dramatic for me. I don't know really what's going on here, but the brainchild of this company that has, made a plethora of North American stars, Kairi Sane, Toni Storm, women that we see weekly on our television across WWE and AEW, went through his system. So now that he's gone, the system is still there. It's ran by the same company that owns New Japan, if you were unfamiliar with that. But where is this going to go? This seems like these are kind of uncharted waters. I mean, very much so, don't get me wrong, I'm not contributing him with any allegations, but the Vince McMahon, the Tony Khan, has stepped away from this promotion here. This is interesting here. I mean, kind of compare that to when Ring of Honor, their founder left, and they kind of, it took them a while to get going again. It took them like 7-8 years to really find their footing again. But of course, Bushiroad is ran by is a big company running Stardom. But I do, maybe there might be something missing here, from this company that started 13 years ago. But let's go into it. SmackDown. The story in the wrestling world that happened at the end of SmackDown. The bloodline comes out. Roman feels disrespected that Cody Rhodes wants to wrestle Rollins. Then Cody comes out, says he's coming for Roman, but not at WrestleMania, and then introduces The Rock. The Rock comes out, huge pop. Make no mistake about it. A lot of people online are saying a lot of things, but when The Rock came out, it was a huge pop. There was a stare down as SmackDown went off the air, and there was a feeling, definitely, it wasn't officially booked, they still have time to turn around, that The Rock versus Roman Reigns will be the match at WrestleMania. But this was met with, we want Cody, trending number one in the world, or number one in America. People pretty much were upset that Cody Rhodes, who won the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row, that lost WrestleMania last year, is not going to be able to finish his story against Roman Reigns, which, I always assumed that finishing your story is winning the top title in the company. Don't get me wrong, Seth Rollins has done a great job trying to solidify this other championship that's been around less than a year now. But it's horseshit to think that Cody Rhodes is going to beat Seth Rollins for this title that's been around less than a year, and somehow that's going to be his legacy with his lineage from this championship that has only had one other wrestler hold it in its whole timeline. But I thought maybe once The Rock came out, people were going to just push this to the wayside. I didn't realize it was going to be this big of a deal. But every poll I saw, including a poll that I did myself, who do you want, The Rock or Cody? Cody won overwhelmingly. Like, it was like 80-20 Cody over The Rock, which is crazy to think about. Of course, they haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. They haven't officially announced it. Thursday, there's going to be some kind of press conference with in Las Vegas with The Rock, with Roman Reigns. Of course, this is the town that the Super Bowl is going to be in. So this is going to be hype. This is going to be hype to shit. The Dwayne Johnson in Las Vegas. The week of the Super Bowl, Triple H, Roman Reigns. This is a big press conference. So there's going to be a lot of fans that are outside this bubble. So this is going to be interesting to see. Vengeance Day, they were chanting, "We want Cody." Online, they want Cody. But outside this bubble, the mainstream appeal. And if you're looking at it from a promoter standpoint, the people that are complaining that The Rock is in this match over Cody Rhodes are going to watch WrestleMania regardless. They're going to watch to complain about how bad it is. They're going to watch and cheer how good it is. They're going to watch WrestleMania. But the people that don't know who the fuck Cody Rhodes is, that know who The Rock is, that have only watched wrestling in the last 30 years a handful of times because they like The Rock, they're going to tune in. So if you're Triple H, do you care that people are wanting to see Cody Rhodes? I think you don't care. And I think that it's your job now to make people care about The Rock, which is pretty easy to do. We saw, The Rock come out and make Jinder Mahal a star for 2 weeks randomly in 2024. We saw The Rock literally on SmackDown get the biggest pop out of anybody there. I don't think that what's going on now is going to change anything. I think it's going to make people think that Cody is a big star, which he is. People are like, man, they're picking you over The Rock. I still want to see Roman face 2 nights. You could do Roman beating The Rock night 1, Cody beating Roman night 2. You could do something like that. People are saying, I've been talking to people say that makes The Rock's return look weak, but he's old. You're not going to be able to have him put over a star like Roman generally ever. You got to give him the rub sometime. Why not give the rub to your family member? Why not give the rub to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia? How ironic that I think it was 2015 where Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble in Philly. People were booing. They sent The Rock out to lift Roman Reigns' hand because surely The Rock was going to get people to cheer. And no, the Philly crowd, notoriously hostile crowd, still boos Roman even when The Rock comes out. And now here we are, 8 years later, and there's backlash again because they chose The Rock versus Roman again. So this is, they chose The Rock and Roman Reigns in the ring together again, and there's this backlash. So that's kind of interesting that this scenario happened. They haven't pulled the trigger yet. You haven't seen what they're going to do, but there is a press conference on Thursday in Las Vegas. The Rock is going to be there. Roman's going to be there. So I think they're just going to keep going with this story, and it's Triple H's job to kind of make people want to see Cody versus Rollins, which is something we saw WrestleMania 38. So this will be rehashing something from 2 years ago. It's not even that fresh of a matchup. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. I'm going to watch WrestleMania no matter what. I'm not trying to act like I'm boycotting WrestleMania. Do I want Cody? Yes. Did I think it was going to be this overwhelming of people that wanted Cody over The Rock? No, I didn't. I think this is making me realize how big of a star Cody is and how big wrestling is now. I mean, Sami Zayn said it after SmackDown. He said, we're lucky to have The Rock back, but also The Rock is lucky to have us. We just sold out Birmingham, Alabama. I mean, I know they sold out Greensboro the last time they were there in May. And I hear that they're selling out around the country. So, I mean, sellouts are sellouts. It seems like WWE is as big as it's ever been as far as crowds in the arena. And I do know that WWE is making more money now than they did during the Attitude Era with, billions of dollars in Netflix, millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia, 2 sold-out nights in WrestleMania, a stadium show for Royal Rumble, a stadium show for SummerSlam, a stadium show in Australia for Elimination Chamber. Who the fuck would think that was possible 5 years ago? So I think it's a testament to how popular wrestling is now that a star like The Rock could come back and people are, one, not that impressed and don't want to see him face the world champion. Pretty interesting shit here. Speaking of WrestleMania, Bayley reveals that she fucking knows Japanese. So she knows that the rest of Damage Control were talking shit behind her back for months now. The 3 champions, Asuka, Kairi, and Io, they don't deny it. They just attack her ass. Bayley gets a pipe, takes the Kabuki Warriors out, and then Io scampers away, and she says, "Hey Io, I'll see you at WrestleMania," and then points the pipe at the fucking sign. Let's go, Bayley. That's what we're talking about here. We have a championship match announced for WrestleMania, and it's Bayley versus Io. I think this is, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to main event any night or anything, but I think this is big. I think this is good. We have Kevin Owens. He's not done with Logan Paul. Logan Paul out there saying that Kevin Owens is playing, or Logan Paul is playing checkers and KO's playing go fish or something like that. We get a match with KO versus Austin Theory. Theory has some wild moves here. I love the Rolling Thunder into a standing blockbuster. Theory gets the brass knucks. KO takes the brass knucks from him, clocks Waller, clocks Theory. 1, 2, 3. Their plan is foiled. Kevin Owens wins. In the back, Aldis and Pierce both trying to sign Braun Breaker here, but Aldis seems to be the only one able to talk to Jade. So there's some free agents after the Royal Rumble here. This is kind of cool. The hot free agents here kind of puts it in that sports-like environment that's good for wrestling. Trinity Fatu is back, and Tiffany Stratton has also arrived. I think they're both signed to SmackDown. And then Tiffany just bitch slaps Michin, and then Michin demands a match with her one-on-one. And we get that match, Stratton versus Michin. Stratton hits an Alabama slam in Alabama. Prettiest moonsault ever. Kind of a play on Christopher Daniels' best moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Stratton wins the match. Not bad for her debut match on SmackDown. Going up against Michin, a veteran talent in wrestling, but someone you're not really going to push that much. Perfect. Escobar talking to Legado del Fantasma. He wants to eradicate the LWO, the faction he fucking started. Nothing we didn't really know here, but it was still pretty cool. We did see LWO later on the show in a Fatal 4-Way, along with Phantasma, Pretty Deadly, Dune, and Tyler Bate. DJZ gets launched in the air. Not as good as his launch in NXT, but it's still pretty cool to see him just get hurled in the air via just his tag team partners and opponents just pulling on that middle rope. Tyler Bate hits an airplane spin. Elektra Lopez gets pulled off the apron by Selena. They go at it. Double powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Dunn and Bate win. So I think they get a title match or some shit like that. Cross, his faction's out there, AOP and everything. They look good. Going up against the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. 6-man tag action. AOP getting tatted up during their time away. It seems like they're covered now. Scarlett jumps on Lashley and B-Fab. That's right. From NXT, from the faction with Top Dollar and Swerve. So it seems like all these people, Hit Row, that's the name. Hit Row, they're leaving. Top Dollar gone. Swerve is obviously gone. So what are they going to do with B-Fab? They're having her join Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, evening the odds in this feud. I'm all for it. I mean, Scarlett is hot as shit. B-Fab, I mean, she's not the best wrestler in the world, but you can hide her in this faction. You can hide her in this faction warfare you're doing. And, she's got the red hair. She's got the gold. She's looking good out there. Me personally, I'm willing to give B-Fab a chance, but I don't think Alabama's ready to give B-Fab a chance. She came out the crickets. But like I said, now the odds are even here in this faction warfare. We're going to leave the WWE umbrella for a second, go over to AEW, AEW Rampage. The only thing I really want to talk about is this 8-man tag. I assumed they were going to Mexico with this match, but they did it on Rampage 2.0, Daniels and Seidel versus Hechicero, Mascarita Dorada, Mystico, and Valador Jr. Hechicero, I was unfamiliar with him, so I had to look into him. I knew the other three luchadors, but I got to admit I didn't know about this 22-year career vet. He's popped up in New Japan for Fantastica Mania. He's wrestled in Rev Pro. I've seen his gifts. His gifts look familiar, but as far as seeing a full match from this guy, other than this week on AEW, this guy has slipped through the cracks in my memory and in my fandom of wrestling. Mystico, huge star, wrestled Rocky Romero in AEW before, and the CMLL guys get the victory here. So like I said last show, New Japan has a deal with CMLL, and it looks like that deal has been extended to AEW having a deal with CMLL. So we're going to be seeing these CMLL stars wrestle, I guess on our television until this feud or whatever they're doing is done. They attack Moxley on Dynamite. The CMLL stars also show up on Rev Pro from time to time. AAA is definitely the bigger promotion in Mexico, and I know AAA and AEW, they have a cordial relationship where stars who have the proper contracts can wrestle back and forth, but that's AAA reaching out to those stars. That's AEW reaching out to those stars. Commander Vikingo signed to AAA, FTR, Sammy Guevara, and even QT Marshall when they were, when he was in AEW. All these guys in AEW wrestle in AAA. So it's some kind of cordial agreement, but this seems like a partnership, a legitimate partnership with CMLL and AAA. Going over to Collision, Brian Keith versus Eddie Kingston. Brian Keith had a great 2023. Looks like he's going to be a breakout star in 2024. Popping up in AEW almost weekly here, even popping up in DDT. Spinning back fist, 1, 2, 3. Kingston wins the match. Tony Schiavone in the ring interviewing Kingston, then interviews Keith and says he's all elite. Danielson's music hits. This is supposed to be some type of heat here because he interrupted this moment. But I don't know, too many people are going to give a shit. We all have ADD. We have small attention spans nowadays. So just keep this wrestling coming. Keep everything flowing, and I like it. I don't think that this is going to get the appropriate reaction that they wanted to when they were booking this thing with Danielson coming out. But going back to Brian Keith, I think he had a breakout, he had a strong 2023 in the Indies, strong 2024 so far, but he's getting put in this bubble here, this AEW bubble, where you're wrestling, you're building up wins on ROH, you're building up wins in Rampage, and before you know it, you're 20-0, but no one gives a fuck about you anymore because they can't remember the last time they seen you wrestle because it's been like in the bowels of arenas at 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. rather, when only 30,000 people worldwide are watching Honor Club. I kind of worry about him here. Lee Moriarty, I remember he had the same pedigree as Brian Keith here, holding the IWTV championship, wrestling around the country, making a name for himself. Wheeler Yuta, same way. Daniel Garcia, of course, Daniel Garcia kind of broke the mold a little bit, but some of these guys you don't really see as stars. They are in AEW, and that's kind of it. Hechicero, the CMLL star, versus Bryan Danielson, though. Danielson goes for a flying headbutt. Hechicero catches him in a crossface. He is then tying Danielson up in knots here, reversing the label lock at one point, counters the yes kicks. Crowd behind Danielson. He finally rolls him up 1, 2, 3 and steals the victory here. Hechicero attacks him after the match. Claudio comes out to make the save. Hechicero, this man is fucking good. Great wrestler. I'm really excited to see him have a match with Claudio because he was, he had a lot of offense against Danielson that was pretty impressive. Claudio has wrestled or started his, career. I don't know about started his career, but kind of cut his teeth in the North American scene in Chikara, a company, a school that trains a lot in lucha. So here is, a authentic luchador coming over to America, wrestling this Swiss man who's been around the world and back again, but knows a lucha style. Two strong bases here going at it. This is going to be a good match if they do it. Maybe they're going to do it on Dynamite or something. Hook versus both Outrunners. I think they could have stretched this out more. I think they could have done an Outrunner versus Hook, and Outrunner against Hook next, the week after, and then done two Outrunners. I think they kind of rushed this feud, but Hook taps him out. Mark Briscoe calls out House of Black. Lights go out. Creepy ass promo. Lights go out again. Creeping out Mark Briscoe. He's spooked, but he ain't backing down. Queen Amina, you know who I'm talking about. She's a great wrestler. She's going up against Serena Deeb, the newest standout versus the workhorse veteran. Big running hip attack. The newly returned Deeb wins another one. Solid match. Shivani in the ring. He's busy this night on Collision. He brings out Swerve and Nana. Crowd doing the dance. Crowd chanting for the Cowboy. They want to see Hangman in Texas. I don't blame them. But it looks like Swerve and Hangman, they're going at it again. The third time's the charm, Swerve says. He's beaten them twice. We'll see what happens. Red Velvet versus Vert Vixen. I will say, every time I see Red Velvet in the ring, I didn't think too much of her, but in December 21st of 2021, AEW had a taping in the Greensboro Coliseum, and some women's wrestlers look better in real life, and Red Velvet is definitely one of them. I don't know, her in her street clothes, her in her regular clothes, it did it for me. And every time I see her now, I think about that moment, that epiphany moment. I'm sitting there, I'm seeing Cody and Hook in the ring, and all I'm thinking is, damn, Red Velvet looks pretty good. And she looked pretty good in this match. She gets the win against Vert Vixen, and she's going up against Timeless Toni Storm next week, or on Rampage, or on Dynamite, wherever. She's going up against the champ. Now let's go over to it. Wait. How could I forget? The main event, FTR and Garcia versus Christian, Killshot, and Nick Wayne. I know it sounds crazy saying this, but I think people can kind of get hidden on Collision. I feel like Dynamite's the main show, and people kind of keep up with Collision, but they don't watch week to week. So you're missing FTR being as good as possible. You're missing House of Black being great. You're missing Garcia being great here. And this is another amazing match they had here in 2024, but I don't think anyone's going to be talking about it. In fact, I had to seek it out. I think everyone's going to be talking about Vengeance Day tomorrow. I think everyone's going to be talking about how they want Cody Rhodes in the WrestleMania main event. I think they're going to be talking about the Stardom news, but I don't think they're going to be talking about this main event with FTR, where Garcia rolls up Nick Wayne. I think they're going to be talking about Vengeance Day, where Chase U was out there, and the two young Chase U people, Riley Osborne, asked that girl out on a fucking Valentine's Day date. I'm a man, I'm in my 30s, I'm not supposed to be excited about this, but I get fucking pumped about this. I'm stoked. And then Lexis King's bitch ass comes up there, starts hitting on Riley's girl. He don't take too kindly to that. He jumps his ass, boom. It looks like we're going to get a segment on NXT where this Valentine's Day is ruined because of Lexis King, and then we're going to get a match at Roadblock. That's what I'm calling here. That's just how I see it. But apparently, I don't see a lot of things correctly on NXT because a lot of my predictions were wrong. But let's go into it. I have every single match from Vengeance Day ranked. Gacy versus Dijak is 6 out of 6. It was a okay match on a good show. So even though this match was passable, it's ranked at the bottom. It was mid, as they say. Gacy versus Dijak. Weapons coming into play. A table of Army men and Hot Wheels cars lays down, and then I think Dijak gets power bombed onto it. The first time I saw this toys and as a weapon spot in the wrestling show was like 2013 in PWG. I never thought that I would see it on a WWE show. It just seemed too niche, seemed too nerdy. But here we are. Gacy also duct tapes Dijak's eyes shut at one point. I thought that was pretty cool. And Dijak gets the win. But, this match really didn't do it for me. Number 5, the 6-person tag, OTM versus The Family. D'Angelo hip toss and stacks into their opponent in the corner. I thought that was cool. OTM throwing big forearms, stacks in trouble. Not as bad as Cole Carter floundering in the ROH roster, but the ring is cut in half. He needs to make a tag. He makes the tag to D'Angelo. D'Angelo launches stacks again into the opponent. I love this shit. Rizzo off the top. Fisherman jackhammer style maneuver from D'Angelo. 1, 2, 3. And the Family get the victory here. Number 4 out of 6. Dragon Lee versus Obi Femi. This match might have been ranked a little higher, but I ranked it where I ranked it. I was pleasantly surprised by Obi Femi. First time seeing him, and he comes out on this big show. He's got a presence. He's walking to the beat, and then he catches his opponent in midair. Dragon Lee hits a snug foot stomp from Lee to Femi. Femi responds with just throwing him around and stomping on him. This was good, but it did seem to drag a little bit here. And Obi was whooping Dragon Lee's ass all over the ring. Dragon Lee won't quit. And then he locks in the octopus lock. Obi Femi gets the ropes by biting it to break the hold. Big jumping knee, drop kicks from Lee. Obi Femi is down. Femi is definitely setting himself apart from, I would say, previous big man experiments in the past few years, like Veer almost. With this match, this was great. This was great to see. He's able to go. He gets his big ass power bombed, and then Obi just tosses Lee around again. Huge power bomb. 1, 2, 3. Obi wins, but I'm ranking this match 4 out of 6, so it's sitting right there in the middle. Because number 3 is the Curtain Jerker. Trick and Carmelo versus Breaker and Corbin. Crowd wants Trick. Trick tags in, but it's Braun that hits a sick variation of a cutter to Carmelo Hayes, like kind of throwing him up as if he's just going to drop him on his back, but then launches him in the air, catches him in a cutter. Pretty sick. And then Mello in trouble. Gets another tag to Trick. Wild lion salt from Hayes. 1, 2, no. Braun suplexes Trick while Trick has Carmelo in his hands. That was kind of cool. I feel like the biggest highlight of this match was Braun Breaker, and this match was kind of supposed to highlight Trick Williams. And then he, does a big moonsault from the top to the floor. This is Breaker. Corbin catches Hayes out of the sky. Really shitty looking neck breaker from Williams. Hayes then pushes Trick out of the way to get hit by a spear. 1, 2, 3. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker win the Dusty Cup. Hayes and Williams did not win. It's at this time I was thinking that the crowd was not hot for Trick, but they were only hot for Trick. They were I feel like they weren't as lively as an NXT crowd usually is. Later on, Trick and Williams were in the back, and Hayes admits that he pushed Trick out of the way because he wanted Trick to save himself for this world title shot that he's getting later on in the evening. So number 2 out of 3. We're saving that Trick Williams feud for right now because the second best match on the show, in my opinion, Roxanne Perez versus Laya Valkyria. Gotta love a springboard. She springboards the bottom rope, but only to springboard to the middle rope. I'm hitting the mic. I'm so excited to hit a lion salt. This is Roxanne Perez. She's using her shorter stature to gain more leverage, building her up by springboarding rope to rope. Love that shit. But Lola Vice comes out, cashes in the contract for winning the breakout tournament. Tatum Paxley tries to stop her. She ends up getting her ass spin kicked. This is now a triple threat match, though. So the champ could lose the title without losing or without being pinned. This was a kind of a shot in the arm I think this show needed at this point. Kick to Roxanne, 1-2. She kicks out. She goes right into a choke. I love this shit from Vice. Vice looking pretty good here on a big stage. Champ off the top, lands on Vice, 1-2. Vice kicks out. Crowd behind Roxy, cross body from the champ, roll through, and then she picks up Roxanne, hits the Nightwish, 1-2. Vice breaks it up. Then a pin by Roxanne, 1-2. Laya Valkyria breaks it up. Spinning back fist to Vice. Then she goes for an armbar. Pop Rocks connects, but Paxley takes out Roxanne Perez. What a fucking jerk move here by this crazy woman who's out there trying to help the champion. Nightwish to Vice, 1-2-3. Lyra Valkyria wins. But if I was Roxanne, I'd be kind of pissed here. Here's this crazy woman who attacked me on NXT a few weeks ago during the contract signing, and now she's attacking me, preventing me from winning the championship. I would just be like, hey, I don't care about Lyra Valkyria right now. I'm going to take your crazy ass out, and then I'm going to take Lyra Valkyria out because you're prohibiting me from doing so. That's what I'm going with here. Simple booking, but effective. Roxanne is over, so you use more women against her to get all of them over. The champ to a certain extent, like Vice here, who cashes in, and like Paxley. But that wasn't the best match on the show. I'm losing my voice here. I'm so excited here. The main event, NXT World Title match. The video package has me hyped. The crowd chanting, whoop that trick. The biggest pop of the night here. Champ comes out. I feel like, is right then and there. You can see that the crowd wants Trick to win. They're really not cheering for Dragunov, who's been the champion forever. He's coming out like a psychotic maestro leading a choir that ain't singing because they're all chanting, whoop that trick. And he's the trick that I think is getting whooped. Or are they saying whoop that trick with a comma, like they want Trick to whoop that? I don't know, but I do know they love chanting it. I love chanting it. It's Dragunov that we know and love him, but it looks like Trick Williams is the favorite here. Carmelo at ringside. Dragunov bleeding early. Trick then bleeding from the mouth as well. Champ in control. Hayes tries to help Williams, but Dragunov stays in control. Dragunov is whooping that Trick. Crowd behind Trick. Not a 50-50 crowd at all by a long shot. It's more or less a shitty crowd all night, but they're behind Trick in the main event. NXT chants as the match goes on. They're hyped up. This is the big fight feel that I kind of wanted from this crowd all along on a show that kind of dragged, in my opinion. Sloppy Uranagi from Trick Williams from the apron to the floor. Can't ignore it. Trick Williams kind of fucked up in hitting, it looked like he was trying to hit a neck breaker at his first match, and then he was hitting a Uranagi here, and both of those moves looked like shit. H-bomb, 1-2, Williams kicks out. Another H-bomb. Hayes doesn't want to look. He knows it. We know it. 1-2, Trick kicks out. Whoop that Trick from the crowd. Crowd is on their feet. Big boot, 1-2, Dragunov kicks out. Mello on the apron. Trick gets pushed into the ref. Mello falls down. Ref is down. Trick knee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tennessee's counting, but there's no ref to count with them. Another ref comes in the ring. 1, 2. By that point, Dragunov kicks out, hits the H-bomb. H-bomb countered by Trick getting his knees up. Torpedo, 1, 2, 3. Dragunov wins. This killed the crowd. They're screaming at each other. They're mad at each other. They can't believe it. So much for sending the crowd home happy. Champ retains. But then, after the match, Carmelo Hayes is helping this person up, his best friend, the person we all wanted to win this championship. Hayes consoling him. And then right when he turns around to go to the back, he chop blocks and boom, takes out the knee that looked to be injured in the first match. Gets a chair and just hits Trick multiple times in the knee with this chair. Holy shit. Why, Carmelo? Why? You could have at least cheated and helped him win the world title and then attack the world champion. Why were you just attacking your friend like this? This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. I've only been watching NXT for a short... Okay, I watched it a long time ago in like 2015, 2016, 2017. You know, but then when it left the black and gold era, I stopped watching it. I only picked up a few months ago. And Trick and Hayes, they were an item that everyone loved. And here they are, dragging off with the title still, looming over the entire roster, it seems. And Trick and Carmelo are done. They're done. It looks like Breaker's moving on. What else can Breaker do in NXT? He's won the Dusty Cup. I think he's probably won the tag titles. He's definitely won the world title. He's got to move on. So it looks like, the feud between Trick Williams and now Carmelo Hayes has got to be number one contender in my eyes. I don't know. I mean, Riley Osborne has got to beat Lexis King's ass in a ring. Hopefully they drop the Gacy Dijak feud. It doesn't really seem like it's going anywhere. The tag titles weren't even on this show. You gotta love D'Angelo. You gotta love Stacks getting hip tossed. I think I like NXT. I like AEW. I like the main roster. I like New Japan. But NXT has found its way into my heart. And I guess I'm just hooked on wrestling, man. I love wrestling. Fly high. I'm out.